And now our topic is code exploits. So code exploits are the kind of vulnerabilities that let you do unauthorized things either remotely, which is where you're accessing a remote system through network or other means like a network. And that's where you haven't had access to a system before and you are just accessing it knowing some sort of an exploit, basically some way to get the system to do what you want. And there's also local exploits, and local exploits are ones where you have access to the system or have had access to the system and have been able to compromise it in a certain way that lets you do what you're looking to do. And that comes into unauthorized code execution or unauthorized data access usually. And what this means is, suppose there's a social networking site and you're able to get to information that other users want to have private, whether it's their chats with their friends or photos or updates that they have hidden, but you know something about how the social networking app works that lets you execute certain commands that let you see data you're not supposed to see. And then there's also perhaps some kind of popular software, like a popular office application or something like that, where you know how to run some additional code, and that code now lets you do things that the people selling the application or supporting the application never meant for you to be able to do. So both of those are examples of code exploits. And with code exploits, there's a concept of 0 days. And what that means is it's been 0 days since the vulnerability that lets the exploit happen has been known. And what that means is it's still unknown, as in the people who could do something about it and fix it, they have no idea it's out there. And the reason that this is an important term is this is what hackers and cyber criminals and all kinds of negative, evil parties want to keep around, because if the exploits are known by the people who can patch them or protect against them, then they need to find some different exploits to do what they do, to get back channel information, get secret information out, do things with systems that people might not know they're doing, and do it without any trace because people don't know what to look for. And that's why a lot of companies like Microsoft and some of the other big companies out there, they provide these bug bounties or 0-day vulnerability bounties. And what that means is that when you, as a security researcher or just as a user of the system, come across some vulnerability that lets somebody perform an exploit, you can report it to them using special websites, and you can provide them with details, and you can give them the steps to reproduce and what is affected. And very often there's a pretty sizable amount of money associated with reporting something like this. Sometimes it can even be as high as $10,000, depending on the severity of the exploit. That's really what determines, and sometimes it's also the company that can also help determine the size of the bounty. And sometimes, of course, somebody will find an exploit and still try to use it, or depending on their intentions, they can sell it on the black market. And that, of course, is not legal, and that, of course, will have its own ramifications. And there's also this tool called Metasploit. So Metasploit is this framework for testing and developing exploits, and that lets people take a tool set of known ways to build exploits and use them against new and existing software systems just to see whether it is resistant to certain common patterns of attack, some common vulnerabilities, and it lets people model new exploits against a system based on things that have happened before and new technology that's available. It's a pretty comprehensive framework, and that's what's used in a lot of security research around exploits.